Okay, this is my round 5 game. Let's see how it went. Came with the Sicilian. Okay, now this can transpose into a dragon. Usually I'd like to transpose them into familiar territory. In this particular game I didn't even worry about it, I just played. So right here, to transpose you of course have to take with the knight. I said let's try something different. I couldn't identify any serious flaws with it. And this is a position I was going for. And after I did my analysis with, of course, the computer, it says that this is a playable position. I was very hesitant to make this move, but it seemed correct. And again, the computer says it is playable because I'm trying to attack something, make my opponent respond to what's being threatened instead of just making positional moves that don't really take any control of the opponent. My other option that I really was interested in playing was pawn to c4. I'm going to have to look that up as a possible continuation if I should ever face this position again. Now he's not threatening my queen, even though she's sitting right in the center. I have freedom with both of my bishops, and I can quickly castle to the king side. So I kept going from here. That pawn's adequately defended. Now here, the computer suggests bishop to f4 first, and I was struggling between those two moves. And I was struggling between trying to decide if I should castle queenside and just go for all-out attack. Because black has not really castled yet, I said, well, I should wait till he castles before I commit to that. The computer is analyzing this position as being pretty much even. Okay, he's castled. Now I gotta make a decision. Am I going to go for an all-out attack, or am I going to try to play a bit more positional here? I decided to play a combination of both. I was going to castle yet still play pawn h4. And here I had to make a big decision. Am I going to give up a pawn and try take advantage of some development moves? Exactly what I decided to do. I would have never decided to do this before, but I said, well, hey, let's play it. Dance with the person he came with. He took the pawn, so now I have to eliminate his knight. His bishop ends up in the center of the board, which is slightly out of place, and I'm going to try to take advantage of that by bringing my bishop, my knight, and my queen, and possibly my rook focused on his king side. Without his knight being at f6, I think I have some attacking chances, but his knight can get back to f6 within 2 moves. So it's really risky. The computer has black with a slight advantage. I don't really depend on the computer analysis. It's a good tool to practice with, but the computer is set up to evaluate positions the same way humans do. But Leela analyzes it totally differently, and that's why I'm trying to develop a technique more associated with the artificial intelligence processing of positions. So he's trying to close off my attack, which means he's just made a pawn move and not really a development move. Threatening the pawn. Again, he's moved his rook, not giving the rook more mobility, but taking a defensive position. And he's also using up a lot of time trying to solve these positional problems he's presented with. And he just closed out his bishop from coming back to defend his queen, possibly at g8. So in the computer analysis right now, It has the positions being even, which is really interesting because he's actually a pawn up, yet the computer analyzes the positions being even. So there's some opportunities here. Now, I was very tempted to fall all the way back to c1 and take his possibility of gaining a second pawn away. But the idea here was to let him take that second pawn and then push up to c3, not allowing his bishop to come back at all. Okay, now he's in deep time trouble, so he's trying to exchange off all the pieces to make the position simple. And I pretty much agreed right here because he couldn't find any more serious complications. And my queen, even though it's in a somewhat satisfying position, it can also be trapped if I'm not careful. So I said if he wants to, we'll exchange off. If he doesn't, I'm going to sack that knight at h5 and really open up his king. And without adequate mobility with his other pieces, he's going to have some serious problems. So he started exchanging off. Here, which I did not consider, but the computer suggests queen takes g3, which would have been, I like queen taking g3. I don't know why I didn't consider it, because then if he exchanged off those bishops, he now has to make another move to defend the pawn at g3. That would have been good. I took with the h pawn, hoping that I'd be able to push to g4 and open up his king. Of course, he's in time trouble. He sees the opportunity to exchange off all these pieces. He's taking it. Very seldom do I have people that are in more time trouble than I am. The rook at a8 is still out of the game. Both of my rooks are involved, bishop's involved, and the queen's involved. That's actually worth something. And I think in the classic computer analysis, it's not giving much weight. Most of the weight is given to material, even though the analysis here has everything's being even though black is really a pawn up. Now you also have to identify targets. I see g6 is not being protected. I see e7 is not being protected. And I see b6 not being protected. So is there a way to take advantage of all of that? That's black's move. He covered the g. So I attack b6 and e7. He blocks the b6 attack and he defends the, blocks the e7 attack and defends b6. The other attacking possibility was at d5. And now I have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking. He only has 2 defending. He tried a little trick there. If I take the pawn, he takes back with the queen. I come back, take. He gets 2 pieces, 2 rooks for the queen. I didn't want to go into that. I attack the queen. The queen has to go back now. I have 1, 2, 3 attacking. He only has 2 defending. So I can get that pawn. But now it just makes the game even. And of course, computer, now that I'm back even in material, shows white with a definite advantage because I have so much mobility with my pieces. And now he's hoping for a draw, just exchanging everything out so he won't lose on time. Actually, I thought that this was going to be a clearly won endgame for white because of his double isolated pawns on the queen side. which actually did happen, but it did not have to happen. And that really surprised me within the computer analysis. So right now the computer has white as having a slight advantage. Here's a race to control the center and take opposition with the king. Now I have opposition. The reason why I pushed pawn f3 is I wanted to create a barrier where his king would not be able to come across. And right now I'm really comfortable with the win, and the computer agrees. And definitely now it's like he was going to go after my kingside pawns and he changed his mind. Well, you can't do that. Now it's all about tempos. Who has more moves with their pawns to force the other person to move? And of course I believe that I do. I had to calculate all this out, leaving black to move. He has to move away from the pawn. And now this is pretty much simple. I've set the king side to create a passed pawn. Now I just go after his queen side pawns, and his king can't come with me. And at this point he resigned. Alright, that was my game 5. Right now I have 1 bye, 1 loss, and 3 wins after 5 rounds, which makes me in the running on the final day of the tournament, which is today, for around 6 and 7. It's just fun to still be in the running on the last day of the tournament. It's also stressful. All right, bye for now.